Well, we're in file order. We'll take item 1, AB 8. Mike Gatto is here. And Mike, you have the floor to present your bill. All speakers in favor of AB 8, come forward. Mike will present his bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seems like every week you turn on the television or listen to the radio in all of our districts, you hear about yet another hit and run tragedy. The rates of hit and runs in many communities is approaching 50% of all accidents. Now, if you kill someone with a gun or a knife in California, there's roughly a 65% chance that you'll be brought to justice. If you kill someone with a vehicle in California, there's just a 20% chance that you'll be brought to justice. Those of us who remember the cultural changes that occurred with Mothers Against Drunk Driving in the 1980s, where society, which means the legislature, the people we represent, plus the media, made efforts for legislative changes, cultural changes, and educational changes, you started to see a sea change in the attitude towards drunk driving. And I would submit that we need that same sea change when it comes to hit and runs. For these reasons, there was a pioneering effort in the state of Colorado to try putting alerts on the changeable highway message signs to engage the public, to allow law enforcement to engage the public to catch hit and run perpetrators. When they did this, their apprehension rate went up from the same thing that we have, which is about 20%, to 76% in just 1 year. That is meaningful. That is a meaningful statistical change. And that is the reason why, when we tried this bill last year, all of the members of the legislature who were returning, everybody here voted for it. This bill passed with unanimous or overwhelming support. I would note that when I drive down the highway quite a bit, what I see on these signs right now are what I could best describe as maxims. Don't drink and drive. Buckle up. Texting can kill. So it's kind of hard for me to hear some of the concerns that our message sign system is overwhelmed when I have seen signs that say, it's a drought, conserve water. These signs are designed for public safety, and this bill gets at the core of public safety. And I want to be clear, too, what type of hit and run accidents we're trying to get at. There is a sweet spot that we're trying to get at. There's one type of hit and run where, somebody on the site gets the full license plate of the hit and run perpetrator. Or maybe there's camera footage of the person who committed the hit and run. Okay, that's one type. On the other extreme, there's when somebody says, I was on my bike, someone hit me from behind, it was a gray, late model American car. Okay, those are the two extremes. This bill does not do anything with those types. What we're getting at is the sweet spot, where there is a hit and run that occurs, and there is an accident where somebody has a partial license plate or a description of the vehicle that is sufficient enough to make it unique. I was driving down the highway and I get hit by somebody who had the Avon lady sign on a pink Cadillac. Okay, that's unique. I was driving down the highway and I got hit by a gray Toyota Camry with a license plate 6B6. That's unique. This is the sweet spot that this bill tries to get at, and this is the type of crime that we can solve. We also limit this bill to instances of great bodily injury. This is something where somebody suffered third-degree burns, where somebody needed a limb amputated, or when somebody is killed as a result of these hit and run accidents, or hit and run collisions and crimes. I would note again that, one of these type of crimes occurs in each of our districts just about every week. Despite the, we think, moral clarity of this bill, we were willing to take some very extensive amendments to try to work out some of the kinks that the California Highway Patrol had identified with this bill. We've given the CHP complete control now, complete control, and this is something we gave willfully, to decide whether or not to do an alert. For example, if there is an Amber Alert situation, and the CHP says, sorry, there's an Amber Alert, we just don't want to put up your hit and run alert. That's fine with us. So we gave them full authority to do that. We also wanted to give the CHP authority to prioritize alerts. So let's say there's 2 hit and runs in one area. We wanted to give them the authority to say, well, we're going to put this one up for a little bit and this one up for a different period of time. We agreed to make this a pilot project. Many of us, hopefully, will be around to see how this works. We submit we're not operating in a vacuum. Colorado's experience with this has been tremendous, but we agreed to make it a pilot project. And we took several other amends to make this a very, very narrowly tailored bill, even beyond where it was narrowly tailored. I also want to stress, it's worth stressing that as opposed to an Amber Alert, typically you have somebody fleeing and in many cases trying to get to another country, trying to get to another state. So Amber Alerts are statewide. This bill from its inception has never been statewide. It's just in the locality in which a hit and run occurred. So for example, if a hit and run occurs, in Davis, right near the on-ramp for the 80 freeway, yeah, you're going to put this on the changeable message signs in Davis along the 80. You're not going to put them in Los Angeles, and you're not going to put them in Mr. Canella's district, wherever that may be. And, oh wow, he's not laughing, folks. I probably shouldn't have said it. He's smiling though. But, so this has always been narrowly tailored, and it's always been a bill that I think really is designed to help law enforcement engage the public to catch hit and run perpetrators. At its core, hit and run crimes are really, really a dastardly crime if you think about it, and they're one that are entirely preventable. The lack of morals that it takes for someone to leave somebody to die on the side of a road. I mean, think about that. Think about that. In many cases, these injuries are entirely preventable because if you call 911 in the first 5 minutes after a crime, after one of these collisions, study after study has shown that that person has a good chance of living. But if you don't call 911 within 5 minutes, that person might bleed to death, that person might go into shock, and that person might pass away. So we really, really do need to change public attitudes. We need to change public perception. We need to make sure that we engage the public, and we need to perhaps inject a little bit of shame into the public dialogue, whereas people know that if they do a hit and run, there's not going to be a 20% chance that they're caught, but that might go up to 75%, and their information is going to be on a changeable message sign in the freeway. So again, I want to stress I think we have taken away all opposition, and we have a whole lot of support, and we always have, and most of you voted for this bill last year. I respectfully ask your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gatto. Before we proceed to your witnesses, so there were two committee amendments. One is to give CHP the discretion to determine when to post the alert on digital signs, and the second is to replace local digital signs with changeable message signs. So you are accepting those amendments?
We are indeed.
Okay, great. Before we go to your witnesses, it was a very thorough presentation, so please keep yours brief. We have 17 bills left, so if you would go ahead.
Every so often you have a day that can alter your life. On January 24th, I received a call that my son, Jeremy Creed, had been in an accident. I then was preceded by the following words: hit and run, severed, tourniquet, and ambulance. It's a call that no parent wants to receive. Part of his foot was severed at the scene by a black Honda Civic. He was left to bleed out in the bushes. His friend Colton Osborne tied a life-saving tourniquet with his T-shirt. While my son thankfully survived, so many in our state tragically do not. Thousands of impaired and distracted drivers annually maim or kill pedestrians, motorcyclists, cyclists, and skateboarders in hit-and-run accidents in our state. What started as an accident quickly becomes a crime, and it's a conscious choice to leave the scene. Make no mistake, it is indeed a choice to flee and not render aid. A hit-and-run is a felony. 80% are never caught, and that's completely unacceptable. When I heard Los Angeles had adopted an independent alert system, I scratched my head as to why it wasn't statewide. I'd seen the increasing slew of hit-and-runs on TV and wondered why someone didn't do something, and then realized I'm somebody. In that instant, I made it my quest to create a positive change for hit-and-runs. I became involved with Mike Gatto's office for the AB8 bill and finished the ride spearheading the Orange County chapter for SAFE as a volunteer. As I work on our hit-and-run coalition, I input names and numbers. These are not stats to me. These are people. People whose lives, families, and communities have been forever affected by a tragic hit-and-run. Last week, my son's friend Elijah Ward was killed by a hit-and-run driver with a light-colored Subaru on the Ortega Highway. He died alone. His mother, Stacy, will never see him graduate from college, get married, or become a father. So when does this madness stop? Our streets are bleeding, and we are losing our friends and loved ones, and we as a whole are letting these drivers get away with it. I speak on behalf of my son, for those who are no longer here, and the countless parents who are screaming and begging you for change. You have the power to send a courageous message that we will no longer tolerate our state being known as a disgraceful hit-and-run capital. We can change the laws. We can protect the victims. We can set a new standard that other states will follow. A hit-and-run does not discriminate against race, color, creed, or age. It isn't something that happens to someone else. It could be your child. It could be your neighbor. It could be your coworker, or it could be you. I urge you to take action, protect those in the area that you have sworn to serve, and pass the AB 8 hit-and-run bill. This would make a great difference in apprehending the driver of my son's case and so many others that remain unsolved. Whether someone saw the accident or not, these vehicles are seen in neighborhoods, communities, and work offices. Make this a reality, aid the victims. The yellow alert will allow citizens to serve as extra eyes for the CHP and Sheriff Department and help apprehend these drivers who need to be brought to justice. Our lives matter. Do the right thing. Today you can alter the course for hit and runs. Please approve the AB 8 bill where California can once again be known as the Golden State. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. One more, and then I just want Me Too's from that point on, so go ahead.
My name's Jim Brown. I'm the Executive Director of Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates. We're a regional advocacy organization. I'm here to urge a yes vote on AB 8. Hit-run collisions are a special concern for people who travel by bike. Most collisions with a car leave the bicyclist injured, which is not always the case with car-on-car collisions. This makes the information that you can get from eyewitnesses especially valuable when a driver flees the scene. AB 8 would help get that information out to the public quickly and routinely. There have been 6 hit-and-run collisions in Sacramento since January of 2014, including 4 in the past 3 months. The most recent one happened Monday before last, about 10 blocks east of here, at 19th and K Street, involving a white BMW with vanity plates that begin with CH. 4 people have died in these 6 collisions. 2 others have been seriously injured. None of the drivers have been caught. 4 drivers who killed people are still on the road today, and this is something that AB 8 can help us fix. Law enforcement routinely goes to the public to ask for help in these kinds of cases, and that's what the Sacramento Police Department did last March when it went to the media with a surveillance camera video of a silver Eldorado that killed Ladislaw Carrasco in North Sacramento. AB 8 would make these kinds of appeals more routine and increase the likelihood of fugitive drivers being captured. We urge your yes vote. Thank you.
Sylvia Solisha on behalf of City of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. Last year we saw 27 deaths and 144 people severely injured due to hit-and-run accidents. We believe this bill will help law enforcement track down these drivers and improve public safety, and we ask for your aye vote.
As the chairman requested, James Lombardo on behalf of the Beta California Motorcycle Riders Organization and CABO, California Association of Bicycle Organizations, and we're in support.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in support? Just say your name, organization, and your support.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the California Bicycle Coalition in support.
Damian Siebold on behalf of the Northern California chapter of Streets Are For Everyone in support.
Patrick Stelmach, Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates and constituent of Mr. Ted Gaines in support.
Jim Haupt for Friends of the Sacramento River Parkway in strong support.
Great, thank you. Any others in support? Anyone in opposition? Is the CHP here? Anybody from the CHP? Maybe come forward and get your take. So you've heard the 2 amendments that were accepted by Assemblymember Gatto. Where's the CHP? Are they still opposition?
Yes, I have. Thank you very much, sir, and members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to come up here today. I have seen those 2 amendments. We've actually also had some other discussions with Assemblymember Gatto's staff, and I'm certainly grateful for that, for those discussions, and certainly for the committee staff for their hard work on this issue. If I'd like to just make a statement, I'd like to make a statement if I could. Yeah. Thank you very much, Assemblymember Gatto, for bringing this important matter forward. There is no other law enforcement agency in the state of California that has a bigger interest in both preventing hit and runs and apprehending the drivers who commit hit and runs. Out of the approximately 70,000 or so hit and run accidents that occur per year, roughly 25,000 of them occur in CHP's jurisdiction. We investigate every one of these hit and runs. We try to apprehend everyone who's committed one of these hit and runs. It's extremely important for our agency. And I want to thank you for coming up here and coming up here and talking about your personal experience. I've personally investigated hundreds of hit and runs myself. I have had to tell families whose sons and daughters have been killed that they have been killed by a hit and run driver, and have comforted people on the side of the road as they've been injured following a hit and run. So we take this very seriously. One thing I want to make clear is that both the instances that you relate, these two witnesses relate, they wouldn't even have qualified to be on the type of alert that is contemplated in this bill. Because the reality is that the changeable message signs, they're very limited in the amount of characters that can be put on them. Which is one of the reasons we want either a full plate or very specific vehicle information. If we have to add any additional context, it can't even get on a bill. And the other thing is inherently different about this kind of alert is it is an apprehension type of alert. And our concern is if we open the door to apprehension type of alerts, that will cover all kinds of different crimes, and it will quickly saturate the system. So that is our concern. We think that there are certainly situations, and this is the amendments and the discussions we've been having with Assemblymember Gatto's staff, where most egregious cases where we have specific information, there are things that we can do using the changeable message sign system. But our concern is that it will saturate it to take away the public attention and focus on children who are in imminent harm, and possibly overwhelm a system with other alerts that may be requested in the future. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions from members of the committee.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I listed the two amendments that were in our briefing, but there are additional amendments that CHP has asked for that you mentioned. So in your opinion, you've accepted all of CHP's amendments?
There were 5 that we discussed with CHP. We did not accept an amendment requiring a partial plate because it's the point of the bill. If you have a partial plate, the crime is solved for all intents and purposes. So we have not accepted that amendment. We've accepted, I'd say 95% of it, but we're still talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So to be clear, you're opposed to the bill in its current form?
We still have an opposed position. We were given that opposed position by the administration, and we will not be removing that until we get approval from the administration. But in light of our discussions with Assemblymember Gatto's office,
going in the right direction.
Submitting a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, committee or from the committee? Yep. Senator Gaines.
Just a clarification. I want to thank Assemblyman Gatto for bringing this forward. I think a lot of us supported this last year, and it seemed to be some concern about the silver alert, but there has not been a whole lot of posting of silver alerts. So I think the issue that the governor was concerned a bit about, I think it's been addressed or relieved.
Yeah, we think so. His veto message had said he wanted to see if the system was overburdened. And I think, like you said, statistical evidence shows that it is not, and anecdotal evidence confirms that. I can't think of the last time, there's never been a silver alert on a changeable message sign. The last Amber Alert that I saw was a couple months ago. Most of the time that I see these, it says, don't drink and drive, which is an important message, but it's not directly public safety related. You can do that on television too. I think that he would be more comfortable now knowing that the system is not burdened.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, Senator Moore, would you like to close?
Sure. So I'll just say quickly that, unlike a stick-up, unlike a lot of the other crimes that we consider as a legislature, this is a crime where the perpetrator has the means and mechanism to get away quickly right there. And that means and mechanism, of course, is a speeding car traveling on an artery that can get that person away from the scene in a very, very quick rate of speed. This bill is targeted, and it does something meaningful, which is it will put a message on that artery so that if someone sees someone weaving through traffic on that freeway, you might assume that person's late for work, but if you see on the message sign that they just committed a hit and run, you can be a part of solving that crime. Just to talk about the notion of the room on signs, well, first of all, we already open up the changeable message system to what are called apprehension alerts. Those are the Amber Alerts, of course. And secondly, the average Amber Alert says something like 2012 gray Toyota Highlander with license plate 6GH425. in our circumstance, we would have the same information, gray Toyota Highlander license plate starting with a 6G, so it would fit on these signs. I feel pretty comfortable that it would. And lastly, as we policymakers, we urge people to get out of their cars. We urge them for health's sake. We urge them for the environment. We urge them because it's the right thing to do. We can't give them the message, to go out there on your bike, go out there and walk somewhere, go out there and go running. But by the way, you're not going to be safe, and then we're not going to do anything to solve the crime when you actually get hurt. So I think this bill takes a meaningful step forward, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, great. We have a motion. Have the secretary call the roll.
The motion is do pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Public Safety. Bell? Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, aye. Allen? Bates? Bates, aye. Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Roth? Wachowski? Aye. Wachowski, aye.
6, we'll leave that on call.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
So we have Assemblywoman Garcia here. She's not there. Okay. So, what's that? Oh, here she comes. Yeah, we go in file order. Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we just get some stuff done here? We have a motion on the consent calendar. We have the secretary call the roll.
On the consent calendar, Bell? Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, aye. Allen? Bates? Bates, aye. Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Aye. Wachowski, aye.
We have 7. We'll leave the consent calendar on call. Assemblywoman Garcia, we have a to-the-point bill. So please
Keep it short.
give us
Thank
your
you.
brief presentation.
Yes, I want to start by accepting the amendments proposed by the committee and thank the chairman and staff for helping to create a better bill.
Thank you.
An estimated 270,000 men turn 18 of age in California each year and are required by federal law to register with the Selective Services. Failure to enroll with Selective Services results in the forfeiture of federal education grants, federal job training, and possibly federal jobs. AB 82 would make it easier for these young men to fulfill their civic duty and secure access to federal benefits like financial aid by enrolling anyone eligible for the Selective Services when they apply for a driver's license. AB 82 also allows anyone to opt out within 21 days of filling out the new driver's license application. With me today, I have the United States Selective Services Director, Lawrence Romo, Michael McGee from the California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office, and Honey Lam from the Chinese American Council.
Please. Witnesses in support.
Thank you. Chairman Bell, Vice Chair Cannella, and committee members. I'm Larry Romo, President Obama's Selective Service System Director, and I'm speaking in support of Assembly Bill 82. Selective Service is the federal agency responsible for conducting a future military draft, if necessary, to maintain a national database of all United States male citizens and immigrants ages 18 to 25, and to manage a program of alternative service, civilian service for men classified as conscientious objectors opposed to all war. Assembly Bill 82 has been amended from automatic legislation passed in the Assembly Transportation Committee to legislation that now allows an applicant an option to decline registration within 21 days of submitting his driver's license application. Applicants will simply have to go to our website to decline registration. They then would immediately be given an electronic receipt stating they have successfully declined to be registered. Selective Service will provide California the $435,000 identified by the Department of Motor Vehicles to fund Assembly Bill 82 because we know it will protect tens of thousands of California young men from losing valuable federal benefits linked to the registration requirement, perhaps for life, such as student financial aid, job training, federal employment, including the United States Postal Service and United States citizenship for immigrants. Assembly Bill 82 will particularly help immigrants, minorities, and the underserved that are most in need of the benefits linked to registration. By allowing registration of the young man 18 to 25 when they get a driver's license, they will not be left behind without full career opportunities that could help them attain the American dream. Just like all other male applicants for an original driver's license, conscious objectors will not be registered if they decline. In fact, under federal law, no man can be involuntarily registered. Additionally, undocumented young men are protected because there is nothing we collect during registration which informs Selective Service of their immigration status or citizenship. Consequently, there's nothing we possess on immigration status to provide immigration and customs enforcement or the United States Department of Justice, even if we wanted to. Assembly Bill 82 helps protect young men in California from losing their benefits linked to registration and helps assure they've complied with the federal law to register. It's efficient, easy for your constituents, and in the public good. This is why we have extensive group support from LULAC, Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies, Veterans of Foreign War, United Mexican-American Veterans Association, National Congress of American Indians, American GI Forum of California, United Mexican-American Veterans Association, Southwest Voters Registration Education Project, NALEO, Organization of Chinese Americans, Asian Pacific Americans Advocates, and the American Legion Department, California. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I welcome your questions.
Thank you. That was very thorough. So we still have 10 bills left. We've heard 2 so far. So if we can just keep our comments brief and support, I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Senator Bell and members of the committee. I'm Michael McGee with the California Community College Chancellor's Office. We support this measure to help ensure community college students comply with federal law in order to be eligible for financial aid and other benefits. Each year, the U.S. Selective Service System receives thousands of letters. Between 2012 and 2014, that number was over 12,000 letters where folks said that they could not get financial aid and were unaware of their obligation. These are folks who fell through the cracks and were not able to accomplish their educational dreams. Even a ballpark estimate says that California students who need Pell Grants are leaving $25, $50 to $100 million on the table and can't achieve their educational goals. This is the reason why we support this bill. We urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, Pete Conity representing the veterans groups on the analysis. And I've been working on this issue since 2000 when the first bill was introduced. The analysis asks, is this bill necessary? And I would say if you're the 13% that never got the word because you're poor or you didn't go to college or you're a high school dropout, you're a person of color, and you never got the word that you needed to register for the Selective Service, whether you like the draft or not, if you want to get a federal job, federal loans, get into college, get financial aid, you got to sign up. The opposition, ACLU, notes that if you're eligible for financial aid, you can fill it out then. Well, what if you don't go to college? What if you drop out of college? We have kept millions of men opportunities to get federal benefits because we are about the last state in the nation to pass this bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Committee members, Chair, I'm Honey Lam, President of the Chinese American Council of Sacramento. I'm here today as a daughter of an immigrant that has instilled in me the pride to service in our home. My father believed in this country and was very proud of it. Part of its opportunities, freedom, and its civil responsibilities. My father served in the U.S. Army during World War II in the China, India, Burma campaign. That is why I'm so actively involved with the Chinese American Council of Sacramento and community outreach. I believe in its responsibility to give back, to help champions its rights. AB 82 is right. If a man does not register by the last day of the 25th year, it's too late. He can never go back and register and face a lifetime of hurdles. This bill simply helps tens and thousands of men throughout their lives by making it simple for them to register when it gets to their driver's license. It's done in 40 states without any issue. Yes, this bill helps men to comply with the law, but it also helps them not to lose opportunities to create a better life and contribute to their community. Nowadays, most men hear about the registration requirement in school or at college financial aid offices. Most of these men are already on track. But what about those that are not on track? What about the tens and thousands of those who fall away from mainstream education, have broken homes, or with recent immigrants, documented or undocumented? They're almost assuredly need the benefits tied to Selective Service registration.
By not voting for AB 82, the deck is being stacked against them. They missed the registration. It's time to close the door to college-age job training certificates, millions of job opportunities, and this certainly has disrupted their path to citizenship. We as a country, as a state, pride ourselves, embrace our diversity. To turn down this bill is to vote against diversity and helping those who need it the most. It's a win for everyone. The money comes with increased use of federal programs, and it would go to California institutions, and also communities. We urge your aye vote, AB 82.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in support? Please name organization and your support.
Nicole Munoz Murillo, the California State University, in support.
Anybody else in support?